Hello guys, and welcome to another Louis on Cryptos. It's been a while and it's been due for a few weeks, I guess. Well, we all are entitled to a few days off, aren't we? So we're back now again though. There hasn't been any significant breakout, let's just say, over the past few couple of weeks anyway. And of course we are going to have a quick look on what's going on BTC, the variations and the alternatives, as well as what this week the QIC community has voted, which is of course Ethereum. Unfortunately, those two have a very similar long-term count, but it is the short-term differences actually that do vary. And the truth is that this is also what sometimes also tells us whether we are due mini alt season or not. So let's go quickly on BTC and then follows up the Ethereum count. And let's not forget, none of this is investment advice, educational, for your own benefit, of course. You can join down in the caption my Discord community for free, or the paid version should you choose to do so. So let's get in there and see what markets have printed for us. I want to start with the long count of BTC. As you can see, and as I have actually said many times in the many videos that we have seen over the past few months, I am expecting a wave A to finish, then B, and then C for further downside, and then from there we're going to go up. This doesn't really match with any other count I would probably just use or have instead as a main. If it weren't for the economic situation we are in, so you might say it's kind of biased, but guys, let me remind you that there is no bias. It's not a bias that comes from, as you usually see with analysts, comes from like an urge to be right. It's one that comes on, expectations and sentiment, as we well know, guys, is exactly what moves the markets, whether in anticipation or against. So sentiment is very important indicator as well. So economic sentiment is the main reason I'm supporting this scenario. However, and I'm going to repeat that again, I am not too friendly on this particular 5-wave move to the downside, because if this is indeed only wave 1, guys, that is expected to, well, I'll tell you at least where it's expected to go, even if we assume a move now, or even higher, whatever. Let's just say we'll go all the way up to the top, which it's unlikely. Just to give you an idea, we should be getting down to around 1300, around 1300 just in wave A. So if that happened, and because this is an ABC, let's just assume that we're going down to 14K, right? Let's say 1330, whatever. We are supposed to come back all the way to 30K and then fall again. The guideline for an ABC is usually around the 50, right? So anywhere 13 and 79, but usual level is the 50. So imagine if that happened and how long that would take. So I am also considering very seriously, let's check this scenario, which is the cycle variation. That the difference here is that we'll be looking for this as wave 1 and 2, and our third wave would be here and 4 and 5 instead of 3 being here with 4 and 5, right? That would see these as a cycle wave move to the downside having finished. it would have an extended wave third, but not as much. Okay, actually not even that, sorry. It's not even an extended third, but I would suggest, of course, or I would think that the fifth is not larger than 5, otherwise it's not valid, you see, and it's not. This sort of price action usually appears, guys, when we have ending diagonals rather than when we have impulse moves to the other side. But it's not unlikely we see something like this, okay? And that is why it is an alternative. So you got the A down here, and we are either, well, having wave B ended here, we're gonna see again a 5-wave move to the downside, which is going to complete wave C, and then we'll go all the way up, which means wave B is here, guys. Or we are due, we just finished wave B, and this is a W, X, and Y, and we are due another wave C to the upside, which can be an impulse or an ending diagonal, and from there move lower down. Now, the chances of wave B having been done, and that's why it's not the first variation of the alternative, it's the second, you know, that 23 only in B, it's a bit unlikely. But if we take into account what you currently see here, that this is an A and a B, you know, wave C can extend, maybe it can be a little bit, you know, extended above the measured move as well, and get us up to around 30K to the 38 before we see a downside leg, which is obviously in proximity, you know, it's much closer. We are 21K, we have 10K to reach that level, whereas when we fall further down, and if this is 1 and 2, that means that the decline is just starting off. That's going to take us to like levels that we're going to need to duplicate from there in order to get up to 30. Okay, so this is the alternative, guys. Another alternative, it's the fifth wave variation here, guys. That's the variation. Let's not go with the variations. Okay, another alternative is the double zigzag. Okay, which we have been tracking for a while, but wave 1 is here and wave 2 is here. That also suggests, though, that this is WX, I mean, you know, and you're going to get an ABC for Y. Again, suggests that we're going to see another leg to the downside, either an ending diagonal or not. So it doesn't change anything in the short to medium term. We have the double 3, which is the alternative, which actually that was our main for so many months, guys, right? But not much likely, because this fourth wave is just getting a bit too much and getting unsynced with the previous wave too. Either way, done, and that would mean that this is a very deep in wave 2, very big correction in wave 2, and we're off for 3, 4, and 5. That's going to be 1, and then, as you can understand, that would mean that the low is in. Now, if you want to believe that the low is in, this is up to you. And another idea, which again shows no difference in the upside leg compared to the one alternative we just saw, which is the double 3. It's, you know, that we have finished over here and we are also moving up. I mean, that can really also be a leading diagonal, if not mistaken, right? So A, B, C, D, and oh, if that's here, yes. Anyway, the idea would be for this to be an ABC. You got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and we are done again with a low, and we're gonna move higher without coming back down. Now, I want to go to the short term and then show you a few of the variations. Did we cycle it? Let's look at this. We talked about this, primary 4. Okay, I'm going to go there after this. So this is the main, as we said, right? That wave 4 is done, and we are now in the immediate wave 1. We're going to get 2, 3, 4, and 5. Another idea, guys, here, which is not much likely, I'm just showing it to you, is that we're still in wave 4 of intermediate wave 3. This is 1 and 2, we had an extended third, we're going to see 4, and then we're going to see 5. It doesn't have a beautiful look, though, and that is the reality. Maybe I should even move it down here and use this instead. The other idea is that we are not done in primary wave 4, okay, and we have had wave 8 done, and this is A and B, and we just actually ended a wave C, which is a flat. Apparently the ABC is a flat, right? So wave B is a flat, not the whole ABC. That is because we missed the 90% correction. Okay, we didn't go down there. Even if you put it up here, you know, we still missing that. Okay, whatever case you see, there is no flat here. So the flat is in wave B. That would then suggest that we had a deep move to the downside in wave B, and we're expected to go up to the previous stop around 25, 29, 23, which is pretty much the 100 Fibo extension and the previous high, right? But can that extend? Of course it can extend. But when we start extending above the 100%, actually I would say above the 138.2, this is when things start to become a bit more bullish in this particular case. Okay, so we looked at this. Double zigzag, we looked at this. The double three, we looked at this. The LD, we looked at this. So time for the short term. And I'm going to go down to the 1 hour here. And as you well know, we said that this is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Again, we get a similar structure of the one we talked about, the alternative that, you know, wave 1 is extended, wave 3 is not even as long as 1, and then the wave 5 is shorter than wave 3. It has to be the case anyway, so that we don't violate the rule of the third. Currently we are looking at a correction. Okay, guys, and let me tell you something. Okay, let me tell you this. Let me tell you that here we have two different cases, but I am more leaning towards this being wave 3. We are currently in wave 4 or finished. We're going to get another move to the upside for wave 5. Then we're going to see an ABC guideline set to the 50%, and from there another 5 wave to the upside, and from there start looking for shorts. So short-term downside with short to medium-term upside, with medium-term opportunity to the downside to short around 23.65 or so. Now, of course, markets change. Until next time, maybe something will happen that is going to change this outlook that I have in mind, right? Obviously, I cannot tell you about everything that can happen because it will be time-consuming. It will be pointless because we're talking about probabilities here and we're looking at the highest probability stuff. If we look at the low probabilities as well and everything else, guys, we're going to be here for 1 hour at least. And I'm already doing half an hour anyway. So that's one of the case. The other case is that this is an ABC. We finished here. We're going to go lower from there. Thank you very much. And the other case is that this is 1 and 2. This is 3, 4, and 5 already finished as an ending diagonal. We're going to get ABC sooner without getting a fresh high. Then we'll get a C and then we'll go lower down. Okay, now, according to guidelines, and if this is 1, 2, and 3, yeah, there is potential to go down even for the fourth to 20 or even 20, 30. Okay, depends on you know where the fourth is going to end. But it can go as deep as down to 19K, guys, 1990. Nothing is going to change in this particular structure that we're expecting. Okay. Now let me remind you something. In wave 2 came down to around 50%, or is that the 62? No, 50%. So according to guidelines and guideline of alternation specifically, that can come down to 2027 because the two corrections, this should sum up to around 100. Okay, now that doesn't often happen always, obviously it's just a guideline, but I'm expecting wave 4 to come in, and then I want to see another wave up, probably for a double top here around 2180 below 22K. That will be my A wave. Then I want to see my B, then I want to see my C. Okay, and this is pretty much going to be the chance, you know, to short up here. Now, another thing that we have to mention as well, guys, is perhaps this is A, B, and C, okay, which makes this an ABC and in diagonal. This move is going to be the same as expected, okay, and 2165 again is the level that we can expect to receive because it is a deep correction in any diagonals that usually prints. At the same time, even as an impulse, because we're seeing wave A being quite impulsive, that again becomes the level that we need to take into account. We might see a 3, a 4, and a 5. That is going to give me a bit more confidence in keeping this as the main, i.e., you know, the wave A would finish around, well, perhaps around the 16K area or so, okay? If we were actually to look at it, it would probably go something like the 78, you see, the 78.30, and then perhaps there, and then maximum, like the lowest I would say would be 16K. In case this fifth wave is an ending diagonal, I repeat. Okay, so let's not forget that, and I think this is all there is for BTC, guys. Now Ethereum, I don't want to take a lot of your time because I already did that with the BTC. All the alternatives are exactly the same, guys, when we're looking at long and medium term. Okay, exactly the same. Okay, so you see this is like my wave 1, we are expecting wave 2, okay, and then further continuation to the downside to complete wave A. Okay, I repeat, the alternatives are the same. Now when looking at this, okay, as you can see, we have already done a bit of more upside than we have done with BTC. Okay, we are above the 50%. We're broken the previous swing high, and we are a territory that the assumption again is that this perhaps 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5 for A, and we're gonna get B and then C, and then go lower down. Or, well, this is this is 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5, and we ended here. We're gonna go lower down. Obviously, we need to check at the short term a little bit here better because this correction here is not similar than BTC. That's why I said that we have some sort of changes in the short term. Okay, but before I go there, I want to show you some variations here. Okay, guys, and one of the variation is the APC. That means that the wave 4 is not done. This is 1 and 2. Then you got 3 and 4 and 5 for wave A. This is an AB for wave B, and then we're gonna see something like 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5 for wave C, and from there 4. That means we gain. We have to gain very good amount here above the previous high at 2K, and from there start falling, right? And another sort of variation I have been looking is that this is the same scenario, but instead of A we have 1, and instead of 2 of B we have 2, which brings us to either getting an impulse to the upside as wave 3 with a fourth wave coming down without breaking past the top, okay, which means we are going to get a 5 wave impulse, or we're going to go up, we're going to get an ABC instead, so 2 impulses connected together, and that is going to turn into a leading diagonal. But if you see the 5 wave move, the leading diagonal actually would be expected to be in this case more of a 5 wave leading diagonal, if that makes sense, because there is 2 variations of the leading diagonal and an ending diagonal. No, sorry, no, ending diagonal is just corrections. Leading diagonal can be made up of corrections, but also of 5 wave impulses to the upside, or to the motive waves, pretty much. The actionary waves are impulses. So these are the differences. And now in the short term, guys, we have, of course, wave 4 done here, and maybe it looks a bit crowdy and stuff for now, but let me just clear this a little bit out and I will explain exactly what's going on here. As you can see, from the low of 1 all the way up, there is a bit of a different structure, right? We've got an A and a B and a C here, and that makes to me a W. And then you have an A, and you have an ABC for B, which just goes above the previous wave, okay, which means it's an irregular move. And then you have a clear 5 wave move to the downside that makes a wave a C of a flat. Now, I had the high in here before, and then we saw the 5 wave leg to the downside, but then I said, let's be cautious, and we started seeing this impulse to move to the upside, and the moment we broke 79 was the moment when I had to change this and come up with a pattern that gives us a 5 wave move here, and that can only be a C wave of a flat, guys. Okay, so W, my wave X is an expanded flat, okay, and we are currently looking at either A, B, and C, which means we're gonna go lower down as we are looking at this. With BTC dominance improving, I wouldn't be surprised if that's the case, okay. That is, of course, going to drag down a lot of the altcoins as well. Or this is probably 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. We might get a wave ending here, as with BTC, and this is the yellow one. We're going to get an ABC correction down to around the 50%, as with BTC, and then 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5, either impulse, 5 wave, or is going to be a an ending diagonal. And again, the target here, guys, is the same, is the 1880. Perhaps maybe, you know, if we look at this as well as the measured move, we might go a little bit higher. If this is the yellow one, then probably we're gonna find resistance around 1770 something, or just below 1800s. That's gonna give us a 50% down to around the 1583, which would then mean we can extend a little bit higher. So if we assume that happened, then look, you've got this, and then you've got this, I assume, so you can get up to just below the 2K. If this is correct, I came close. Yeah, just below the 2K, guys. Okay, that could go up there if this is just our wave A. And there is another case here for the short term, okay, where this is a leading diagonal for wave A, and this is an ABC for another, expanding flat, and that is going to be a wave C. Okay, and because we have a leading diagonal in this particular case, guys, leading diagonals usually when they start they are hinting at an extended wave C. So we've already done the 100%, so maybe that's going to turn into something like this. Yeah, but because it goes too far into the correction, right, if we assume a deep correction here, even 1618 takes us to the above the previous high and validates it. So I would be more inclined for this wave C to end around just below the 2K again, but turn into, and this is where we are here, an ABC for wave 1, then another ABC for wave 1, and end up into an ending diagonal. So in case the orange one plays out, which means we can go up to around 2K again, okay, equally to the yellow one, I would expect that to give me a deep leg first, so that it kind of had some conviction that it's going to be an ending diagonal, because I wouldn't want, and we wouldn't want that in this case to be anything else than an ending diagonal in the C wave, because otherwise it would probably mean that we have to look at the alternatives, because it would probably extend above the previous high and invalidate this sort of move. So guys, that's going to be all. I hope you enjoyed. Leave questions and feel free to join the Discord group. You receive one video a day anyway. It's like probably from 2 weeks ago or something, but you get a late sort of update from the group, unless if you want to join. Of course, feel free. We're a small community, things are slow, so they should start picking slowly, guys, as we're into September now, so generally speaking, things should become a bit more interesting as we head closer to the end of the year. So take care and trade safe.